Hello, friends. Hope all is well. Today I come to you honestly. Today I got pretty frustrated over just a petty situation, just some stuff I have going on back home. Uh, so today I I noticed something that I wanted to share, and then it tried to put me into a sort of string of thoughts. Today I got so mad at somebody, and this person talking to you. This is generally my general disposition. I got so upset with the situation that I didn't have a good solution. I didn't have a good way out, and I think sometimes we can get in these solutions where we feel like I've buried myself so deep. I see this with a lot of my clients. They bury themselves so deep that they think they have to run every day. They think they have to punish themselves. They think they have to do something extreme to get out the situation. And with my case in this situation, the thought I had, and I thought, how can I murder this person? Like, how can I set their house on fire? Right? But that's right. You can't give into the lust of murdering someone. Come on, dude. Right? It's just my head is crazy. So I think the point I'm trying to make here is that, like, sometimes we're in situations, whether it be your training, nutrition journey, or just a general situation in life, where you find yourself so deeply frustrated and without the answer and without what to do, that we can sort of rush our feet into doing the wrong thing, and that wrong thing not only sets us back, but it self sabotages us from ever having any ways or means of success. Right? It really sets us back. It's not only the situation caused you to feel one way, but then the way we responded to it made us cause another. So I'm here with a bit of a solution, whether it be weight loss, building muscle, or not trying to set your neighbor's house on fire, is patience and preparation. So I think through patience and preparation, great things come. In the world of bodybuilding, when I'm patient and when I prepare and when I do what I consciously know I can control, that's all I focus on. We can basically call patience and preparation the process. That's what we call it, right? There's a process to follow. Now, sometimes you have to do that without knowing, right? Like, the whole point of a bodybuilding contest, in our world at least, is to get ready, get the days ready as best as you can, not knowing what's going to happen come that day. But in that day, it'll happen. Something will happen. Who knows, right? But you'll be ready. You prepared for it. I feel like whenever you're in a certain situation where you feel like you're in a hole, or in a situation that frustrates you to the point where you just want to go fucking crazy, the case that I make for being patient and continuing to prepare is that there's something that can happen to you at the end of the result if you stay patient and if you just continue preparing appropriately. What can happen to you is that something can, what's the word I'm looking for? Come to you. This something that comes to you, in the last video that I was talking about, Sherdelange called it a moment of ecstasy, or we call it in modern terms a bright idea. Something can just sort of come out of nowhere. That is the moment that I think we're waiting for. And that moment we can call genius, a moment of genius. Now, in modern day living, I think we see a genius as someone of the other, someone more special than us, someone that I'm not. But the original term genius was not reserved just for scientists who made revolutionary breakthroughs or revolutionary writers or poets. The original word, let me pull up some notes that I have here. Genius is an old word from the sort of the Roman days, right? I pulled up something, this blog I wrote, and they kind of had the best way to describe it. The word itself is Latin, and for the ancient Romans who first used it, the term genius was a guardian spirit, a god of one's birth who accompanied individuals throughout life, connecting them to the divine. So it's not that you're a genius, I guess, necessarily in possession, whether you're a genius or not, but it's more of a matter of we are all ourselves individually genius, and we ourselves individually all have access to this. So the issue is, and I think in my current situation, is that my genius hasn't yet visited me. My moment of ecstasy, my bright idea, my way for how am I going to handle this, I then gained all this weight, how am I going to get myself out of it, which is the problem I deal with commonly. You freak out. You just murder someone, because it seems like that's the closest thing you can do. Now, genius is tricky. Genius has to sort of cook, right? Genius takes a while, as we all know, right? Genius doesn't come overnight. To understand the idea of how sort of the genius within you works and will resolve your issues takes patience and preparation. And genius will only show up if you have these two prerequisites sort of down, and it'll hit you in a moment and it'll sort of guide you perfectly. Like my last video, I was saying that it's from sort of within, from that silence. And if your head is noisy trying to plot the murder of a person who's upset you, well, come on, OJ, give it some patience. It'll come to you. So, okay, I'm reading this book that'll really help me with this, explain it a little better than I could ever. It's by Carl Jung. The book is called Man in His Symbols by Carl Jung. It's a very interesting picture here. Carl Jung is an interesting guy. He's a psychologist. A lot of you may be familiar with his work on archetypes, introverts, extroverts, INTJs, whatever all that stuff is, right? He also was a student of Freud. So his work on consciousness, subconsciousness, dream analysis, free association, all those Freudian ideas he took and he sort of evolved them, in my opinion, to more of a spiritual sense. I think he took psychology and then mixed his sort of knowledge of theology and sort of made them all make sense in one. He defined a lot of the things that we hear in religion and put them in a psychological sense, along with many other things. Like one thing that happens commonly, let's say in religions, is that they have visions, right? Dreams. And he talks about dreams in psychology. So he's an important bridge for us, I think, in modern rational society to sort of understand some of these archaic genius things that they understood in the spirit world that we can understand today through modern psychology. So if I may, I want to read just a little bit from this book. So he says, when speaking about sort of the conscious and subconscious, just to give us some idea of where this genius is and where this genius come from. But just as conscious contents can vanish into the unconscious, new contents, which haven't been yet conscious, can arise from it. So if I'm thinking about, just looking out the window, there's this guy on the balcony with no shirt on, and I'm thinking about him right now. He's in my conscious memory. Within 5 minutes, you and I will have forgotten about this guy, right? It'll vanish into the unconscious. Now, will I forget about him? Consciously, I will. But what he's essentially saying is, I took something in, I learned a bit of information, but I have a brain in a subconscious layer, a layer that I can't access, that's continuing to wrap things around. So everything that you sort of come in contact with on planet Earth, you see it, you say, interesting guy with no shirt on, and you get forward with your life, and it vanishes. But something is still cooking underneath there with the information you took in. And that cooking is the sort of unconscious, is the subconscious. And every now and then it burps something out in a dream, in an idea, in a something. And this is where the patience component, I think, comes into getting your genius. Your genius takes time. It's like a computer. It needs to sort of put pieces and things together. To continue with Jung, he says, one may have an inkling, for instance, that something is on the point of breaking into consciousness, that Something is in the air. You know, you can just feel it. You can feel something coming sometimes, but this takes patience, right? And if you're in a situation where you're only listening to what's consciously available, and if that's just freaking out and panicking, uh, you're not present, right? You have to wait and be patient for the thing to pop up. He goes on to say, the unconscious is no more, sorry, the unconscious is no mere depository of the past, but is also full of germs of future psychic situations and ideas, germs like seeds. In addition to memories from long distance conscious past, completely new thoughts and creative ideas can also present themselves from the unconscious thoughts and ideas that have never been conscious before. So you can think of something, thoughts and ideas that have never been conscious before. You can, in your situation, whatever it is, wherever you feel stuck or wherever you feel like fuck, be patient and continue to prepare for your moment, for that whenever these things bubble up within you, you're ready. And you'll say, you'll have a moment of ecstasy. It'll be like a light bulb moment that we call it commonly. But this can only happen if you are patient, if you don't rush your feet into some self-sabotaging behavior and you got to get out of your way. He goes on to say, they grow up from these subconscious thoughts, right? This sort of genius that we're looking for. They grow up from the dark depths of the mind like a lotus and form a most important part of the subliminal psyche. I just think that's just one of the most powerful things I ever read, right? The fact that you can be patient, do nothing, and suddenly this thing will do it for you. This thing will visit for you if you stay patient. This thing, we can call it the genius. He calls this genius, let me find this part, the ability to reach a rich vein of such material and to translate it effectively into philosophy, literature, music, or scientific discovery is one of the hallmarks of what is commonly called genius. The ability to reach a rich vein of such material, of such subconscious material, right? It's one of the hallmarks of what we call genius. Now, each and every one of us has and is a genius. Maybe the thing that bubbles up for us won't be the theory of relativity. Maybe the thing that bubbles up sort of for each of us, won't be rocket science. Maybe it'll just be how to solve your problems and just not to burn your neighbor's house down. Maybe it'll be that simple, right? Maybe it'll be that simple for all of us. So with patience, we have to give this thing time to cook and sort of come up with ideas. And then I think with preparation, we have to do the proper things. We have to sort of confront things. We have to be prepared. We have to be ready, right? We have to do the work continuously in faith, knowing that this thing will give me an answer in time, eventually. It's the same thing, same way that if you're lifting weights. Eventually, you're going to have to prepare to lift and eat and do everything right, and you're going to have the patience. Its results not going to come overnight with muscular hypertrophy, no different than your genius is not going to come and visit you overnight. You may have to live with a little bit of the unknown, with a little bit of pain. So this idea is not only a Carl Jung old idea, but we also see it in modern accepted psychology, right? You can call this you can get this place activated through flow state, right? The flow is a Dr. Mihaly, I don't know how to say his name, what is he, Ukrainian or Russian or I don't know, Lithuanian, I don't know what he is, but he's Eastern European doctor who coined the term flow state that we all use now very popularly. And flow is something that you do effortlessly, without effort, without much conscious thought, without much thinking, right? This is the subconscious opening up that vein and just flowing out, as Freud would have it, right? You can look at a soccer player like Lionel Messi and call him genius. He's in a flow state. The genius flow is just sort of coming out of him. Or you can even look at it outside of that, right? You can look at it in the religion, right? There's what they call in religion, some call it the Holy Spirit. They call it in Christianity, right? or I don't know the name, but it's like this Hindu force that's like the deepest depth of all, in all of us. I don't know if it's Brahma or Brahman, I forget which one, I don't know too much about it. But the concept is universal and it goes by many names. And it can only be revealed to you through patience and getting ready for it, right? And preparing for it. So get out of your own way, don't self-sabotage, and trust that at the time it'll happen. To close, I'd like to close with something from the New Testament. So there was a point in this story, just for the sake of this, to be put from psychological terms into an actual story, when Jesus was basically preparing all of his disciples for the shit that was going to go down. He says to them, "Whenever you are arrested and brought to trial, do not worry beforehand about what to say. Just say whatever is given to you at the time. For it is not you speaking, but the Holy Spirit." Holy Spirit, subconscious, genius, whatever you would like to call when you have one. And if you stay patient and you prepare for the moment, just like David and Goliath, right? When young David stepped up to the line, he had no idea how he was going to defeat this Goliath, but in a moment, it just came to him, a moment of genius. Hit him with my sling, and the stone sunk into his head and killed that Philistine dead. Okay, that's it. Take care, everybody. Thank you for listening to these. I appreciate everyone's comments on these. Please leave a comment if you have anything extending knowledges that you know from this. I've been appreciating taking those in. I've been learning more, diving in deeper from other people. There are some topics people want me to touch on. I'll be sure to do my best to try to touch on it. And then also, like the video, obviously, if you like the video. So, okay, I appreciate these. Thank you for enjoying and having these conversations with me. There's just things that I need to figure out for myself, and I figured I'll share them along the way. So, okay, thank you. Got to do my commercial. I coach full time. I'm a good coach. I put a lot of this into it. I believe coaching is not just quantitative in numbers, which is 70% of it, but also good coaching is good coaching. It's qualitative. It's getting these things in a person's head so they can get the right mind and sort of right physique and knowledge like that. So, okay, any coaching inquiries or anything like that, do let me know. I've been coaching over 10 years now, and it's something that I enjoy, helping people step into their greatness and not fucking around anymore. So, okay, thank you all. Talk soon.